It's an absolute privilege to welcome back one of our trailblazing alumni, Anirudh Koul, 2003 batch, Senior Manager of Gen AI Sciences of Pinterest. With over 18 years at the forefront of applied research, data science, and machine learning, he has consistently transformed complex technology into solutions that touch lives at scale. As the founder of Seeing AI, one of the world's most widely used assistive technologies for the blind, Mr. Call has harnessed innovation to make the world more accessible. He founded Space ML, NASA's AI accelerator guiding citizen scientists working on climate change research, co chaired a UN group on AI for natural disaster mitigation, conducting the world's largest study on the topic, and cashed a coached a podium winning team for Robrand's autonomous driving championship at 175 miles per hour. He is also the author of Practical Deep Learning by O'Reilly and a mentor inspiring the next generation of innovators. And his book was recently launched on the summit of Mount Everest, making it the world's highest book launch. His journey is a testament of vision, impact, and relentless pursuit of solving human centered problems. Today, he joins us to share his insights, wisdom, and inspiration for our graduating class. Please join me in giving a warm and enthusiastic welcome to Anirudh Kaul.
Thank you, esteemed faculty, proud parents, and more importantly, the graduating class of 2025. It's an incredible honor to be here with you today on this amazing milestone. I also realize, thank you for jumping into that improv birthday song. That makes me really feel special on this. And I also realize that you're 20 minutes away from taking that mandatory Instagram photograph where you're jumping with these things. So I want to make sure I'll return the favor by keeping it quick. And I'm realizing this is the last lecture you will ever hear till, you hear the lecture from your boss during your performance management, the performance season. So I'm going to share some tips that maybe I saw, which will make those conversations and those lectures more easy sounding. So you can sit back, relax, and we'll have fun together with some of these stories. So 22 years ago, when my batch came to this university, we all were also sitting on the similar seats, although the cushions are much better now. It's more comfortable. And I mean, the students had the same mix of that strange energy between, oh, I'm finally free, and oh, I'm actually free. And between those emotions, the world is kind of the same between here for you all. So back in 2023, the world was a little bit different. Gmail didn't exist. Our daily bandwidth that you could use on internet was 20 MB, not 20 GB, 20 MB. And when you used to get a phone call, you didn't have a personal phone. So it would be called at the hostel gate, and the security guard would actually walk all the way to your room. And to me, he would say, phone call for call. That's my last name. And that was our version of, push notification. But then some things don't really change, the pride of finishing, the anxiety of starting something new, and the friendships that last. So we had a big room. I saw your resumes, they're pretty impressive. But I thought, we'll play a little game where we'll get to know a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is ask you to just do like a single clap when that's good. You are actually awake. So do a single clap, a loud clap when one of the questions I asked you fit in that answer. Don't go in multiple claps. There's not the time for standing ovations. So let's get ready. So clap if you're incredibly relieved that you never have to study for an exam again. Nice. Clap if you've ever submitted an assignment 1 minute before the deadline. Wow, you're masters in time management. I can see that. Clap if you bought a textbook and barely read it. And clap if at least one of your assignment owes a tiny thank you to ChatGPT. Tiny. You people are honest. I think they have taken the right pledge here. So look around you. You're not alone. The feeling is normal. It's a feeling of standing at the edge of a great opportunity. So now, for the last several years, all this hard work, all the late nights, all the terror, it's often boiled down to this single word called GPA. It's like at this point, the metric that people use to measure success in this chapter of life, right? So we'll do like one last clap game. Just keep joining. So give me a clap if you qualify for any of the following. You have a GPA of over 9. Oh, that's our overachievers there. A GPA of over 8 to 10. More claps. Fantastic. Over 7. No, 7 to 10. Excellent. Over 6. Over 5. So the reason I'm asking is because in my second semester, my GPA was 4.69 out of a 10. And best story is that I got a D grade from Dr. Batish here. And that's a course I actually liked. So that's the problem with bell curve when you study with like geniuses in your class. Like things don't always work out the way you think it would be. But if my GPA was 4.69 and over time I got to that bio, I'm expecting with your GPAs and those claps, I expect a few of you to like colonize Mars. So no pressure. But that also proves the point that your GPA reflects the incredible work that you had to do in this system with clear rules. And however, with the world outside beyond these walls, it runs with a different operating system, one which has a lot more chaos. So now the classic thing people do in these graduation speeches is talk about how to get success. And honestly, like success has a very simple formula. It is think big, work like hell, and be lucky. But luck is this mysterious thing that only appears to a few people. That's what we assume. I think it's the most misunderstood part of success. And so today, I want to talk to you about how to hack your luck. How to hack your luck. Now, we all have seen someone who's like rising fast in life, and we say, that person is lucky. And you're right. But that's the thing. Luck isn't something that's always pure chance. Sometimes luck can be designed, it can be engineered, it can be hacked. Now, I didn't mean hack like, doing that cybersecurity bank going inside like in the movies. I mean hack like finding creative shortcuts that open doors when doors were not meant to be opened, helping tilt the odds a little bit more in your favor, even when the randomness of life looks kind of like a casino. And considering that I have been going to hackathons for the last 22 years, starting here from Thapar itself, I feel professionally qualified to talk about hacks. So, how exactly do you hack luck? It's not by rubbing a magic lantern or checking your horoscope daily. It's by creating the kind of situations where luck has no choice but to find you. Because luck doesn't just show up at random, it shows up where the action is. If life's a lottery, then showing up is how you keep getting those tickets. So, how do you find yourself in a situation where luck can see you? That brings me to hack number 1. I have 4 hacks for you. That's hack number 1. And that's the art of being findable. And how do you make sure opportunity can spot you? It's by increasing the surface area for serendipity, the so called happy accidents. So think of yourself like a satellite dish, but for luck, right? The bigger your dish, the more signal you can catch from the universe. But imagine you keep that dish antenna inside a room where it cannot access the sky, it's invisible to the world, then luck is not going to lock on its laser beams on you. And the moment you start sharing your work, meeting people, showing up, talking about what you're working on, you just build a larger target for opportunities to hit. So I'm going to go with some practical versions. So the stories are not just theoretical. But so how do you do that? So I have 3 simple ways. Just talk to strangers. The volunteer hanging out, giving you the badges at the next conference, the person at the line in Starbucks, the Uber driver who likes to talk about how to run a business better than you do. Like, talk to them. Every potential conversation, every person is a potential door to a world you didn't knew it existed. And every conversation expands on the network of love. Second, become a T-shaped person, a T. So go deep in the chosen field. That's like the vertical bar of the T. But then become the absolute best at what you do. But then don't just stop there. Develop a broad range of interests and knowledge on the other areas, and that's the vertical bar of the T. Read books on topics you didn't know much about. Take up that weird hobby. Luck often lives in the intersection between fields and having the broad knowledge, which allows you to connect the dots that others don't see. So, I once did something completely outside the world of AI. I secretly did a degree in film. And now that random decision is helping me whenever I have to give a speech because I do slightly better storytelling. And whenever I have to help get funding, I make short funding videos to attract funding. So, T, be good at what you do, but start building some extra skills that can just connect things in you. And finally, become at this stage in life, say yes more often. Say yes to that side project that kind of looks higher than your pay grade. Say yes to coffee invitation from the finance department who can probably tell you much more important things in running a business. Say yes to that hackathon where you still don't know what you will build, but you just show up there and you might meet someone and build the next big thing. So saying yes is another lottery ticket. It's the entry into a game of chance where the potential upside is a new skill, new friends, new career path. And by talking to people, broadening your knowledge, saying yes, you might actively make yourself a bigger, a more visible target for good fortune. So let me tell you, this is not just theory that I'm talking about, and this actually does happen. So I live in California, sunny California, hot California, where every summer the sky turns into orange color because of wildfires. So I wanted to do something about it. Of course, I live there. And in that brief moment of heroic delusion, I actually went to our local firefighting station so that I decided to become a volunteer firefighter. I go in there and tell I walk in there ready for that next movie, Marvel movie moment. The fire marshal looks at me, looks at my muscle definition, which is lower than the muscle of the fire hose, and basically just, say, nope, nope, go away. But that, even though that was a rejection, my career as a hero was over before it began. But that they did tell me something fascinating that they use tools built by NASA to forecast and track these wildfires, right? So that they can bring the army of fire engines when before it's even in the early phases. And then this light bulb, went on. So I started digging and found a NASA event where they were brainstorming solutions on big problems. It's intimidating. Of course, it's NASA. But I had already been rejected by the fire marshal. So I thought, just getting rejected by NASA would just be a step up. So I applied one of these rules, of my own rules. I made myself visible. I wrote a single audacious email. I proposed a new approach. What if we create an open source distributed way of doing research? What if we open these massive moonshot problems to citizen scientists, people who might not have the degrees, but they might have the passion and the drive to do things, and we can coach them. And to prove that it works, I volunteered to run the whole thing for free pro bono. We called it Space ML. At first, it was just me, and then one person joined, a second person joined, and pretty soon we had an energetic team of 40 people, a ragtag team from around the world working on this. Since none of us were actual rocket scientists, our goal was simple: build AI tools so easy and so powerful that real NASA scientists could become superheroes. We wanted to become their impact accelerators. We built systems that could sift through mountains of data with a single line on the command line and open the floodgates to discovery. And what happened next was something that none of us would have even believed. So these tools, built by this ragtag team, were used to discover the largest number of meteors in a single night in NASA's entire 62-year history. They were used to search for atmospheric phenomenon from 22 years of unlabeled satellite imagery, petabytes of data. Researchers used them on data from the Hubble Space Telescope, looking upwards, as well as somehow used it to find early signs of cancer in astronauts, things that we did not even imagine when building these tools. And out of 79 postdoc teams from NASA, our little project was chosen as one of the top 5 groundbreaking sciences in there. So now, you're probably wondering, this is that team of 40. You probably had imagined that photograph of seasoned AI researchers, with photos like this. So here's the part of the story I left out. Majority of these people were high school students. They're not PhDs, they're not masters, they're not undergrad, they were actual high school students. And let that sink in. In fact, my favorite story is about their high school teachers who had no coding background. They got motivated to fight climate change, so they taught themselves Python and coding. And with these newfound skills, they developed research that outperformed papers from NASA scientists. A few months later, they were standing at the NASA headquarters, presenting their finding to the chief data officer of NASA. So, literally going from a classroom to the NASA headquarters before having no coding experience just a few months ago. So, the point of the story was everybody lucky? Absolutely. They were unbelievably lucky. But it wasn't random luck. It wasn't the lottery. They got lucky because they made themselves a target for it. I didn't know most of those people personally before, but they showed up. Before I had this idea, I had gone to talks and they came up the talks, sent me LinkedIn messages, and reached out saying, I want to work on something that matters. They raised their hand, they made themselves visible. So when eventually this crazy opportunity from NASA appeared, I didn't have to find the team. The team had already found me. And that visibility created a chain reaction of luck. When our work was being presented at conferences, people from United Nations saw it, and I eventually had the incredible privilege of leading a United Nations focus group on AI for natural disasters. 5 years later, as I was coming for the speech, I started looking at the LinkedIn profiles of most of the students. Those were in the high school. And now, they had graduated from places like Stanford and Carnegie Mellon. They had amazing jobs at Netflix, Microsoft Research, Google, Apple. Every single one of these life-changing opportunities for them, for the teachers, for me, started with a single email, the decision to stop hiding and becoming visible. So the point is, your luck is not hiding in your horoscope. It's waiting in that sent folder. It's waiting across the table from the stranger at the coffee table. It's waiting in that weird hobby that you have wanting to be trying. So go out there, create a target so big that good fortune just cannot possibly miss you. So you made yourself a target. Similarly, I'm going to find the bottom so that I can talk about the next hack. So, of course, getting noticed is the first part of the story. But when opportunity spots you, the question becomes, are you ready for it? So this is where the second hack comes into play, which is being prepared. So you have all heard this famous quote from Louis Pasteur, chance favors the prepared mind. It's true. Luck isn't about random lightning strikes. It's about the person holding the lightning rod. A golden opportunity is useless if you haven't done the work to seize it. Now that we think of preparation, we usually picture somebody sitting in a library reading a book, doing courses silently. But I've discovered a more chaotic way of learning and becoming an expert, and I call it forced evolution via the fear of public humiliation. So this is where I have a confession. I built my entire career on a lie. Back when I was starting out after graduating, I couldn't afford those fancy conferences where the dollar ticket to get in was like a couple of $1,000s, and I didn't have that money. So I came up with a genius or maybe a desperate idea. I would pretend to be an expert at whatever is the latest state of technology, and because there was nobody else, hopefully try to sneak in. Because when you try to apply as a speaker, you get a free ticket to the conference. So I tried, and I luckily got in. That's great. And so the talks were usually like 6 months later on. And I thought, I would relax that, I have 6 months to learn this concept and things would be good. And until one day, I realized in my calendar and realized, oh no, the conference is next week. So that week, I would go underground in airplane mode, no social life, no distractions, just me, coffee, 300 browser tabs open. But by the time I would step out on the stage in that week, I wasn't pretending anymore. That fear of public humiliation forced me to learn faster than any course could ever do. So naturally, I did that again and then again. And I repeated the speaker scam to break into a second field, a third field, until one day, after pretending to be an expert through many times, they started inviting me as a speaker and then just called me to chair the conference. So I went from sneaking in for free to literally running the thing. And those fake it till you learn it talks kind of built my real confidence that took me to speak better, got me new opportunities, and eventually led me to write a book. And through all this, I realized one priceless lesson. The fear of public humiliation is the most effective teacher in the world. So we spend so much time avoiding the limelight, hiding from it, terrified that it will expose us. But I found that it's not that this is an interrogation lamp, it's a growth light. It forces you to stand taller, dig your deeper, and become an expert that you were pretending to be. So, if you really want to learn something, stop hiding in the library, find your stage, because teaching turns fear into focus and pretending into progress. So, we talked about becoming more visible and preparing for it. That's great. But even with all this preparation, there's a limit to how far you can go by yourself. And that's where the third hack, the biggest impact multiplier on life, and the one I think which has the highest impact on return on investment you can get. So this year I had an incredible opportunity of a lifetime. I got to spend a month with an incredibly inspiring individual, a two-time Olympian, a record breaker named Nick Simmons. And for 30 days, he was chasing world records while I was chasing my breath. And between that, I tried to figure out what separates a normal human like me from this Olympian. The answers were pretty obvious, training, discipline, and an inhuman amount of hard work. But then he shared me the real secret, something that I wasn't expecting. He had a coach. And that kind of broke my brain because this guy who he has reached the pinnacles of the sport has a coach. Usain Bolt has a coach. Serena Williams had a coach. Turns out every Olympians don't really train alone. So if Olympians can have coaches, why can't you? And that's where I want to talk about today. Get a coach, be a coach. That's hack number 3. Every time I've gotten a coach or a mentor in my life, my learning curve has bent sharply upwards. A good coach compresses years of confusion into moments of clarity and turns frustration into focus. They help you see those blind spots that you didn't know existed. A coach sees the version of you that you can't see yet. And this has taught me that feedback isn't criticism. It's a mirror showing the one thing that you cannot really see, the back of your head, metaphorically, unless your coach is also a hairdresser. So getting a coach doesn't mean that you are weak. It means that you're serious about growth because, quote, growth loves guidance. So please get a coach, get a mentor. It's how you can hack your luck. But now, once you have had a coach, pay it forward and become the coach you wish you could have. There's a strange magic in teaching. When you teach, you learn twice. When you guide someone else, you grow deeper roots in your knowledge. When I would mentor one person, before I knew it, I could see my dreams turning into reality through their success. Watching someone else win because of like a small piece of advice you gave, it's not just success, it's actual meaning. So get a coach to grow faster, but become a coach to grow deeper. So that was hack 1, hack 2, and hack number 3. You become visible, you prepare, and then you get a coach, you be a coach. Coaching accelerates your growth, but there's one force in the universe that makes you almost unstoppable, and that's a looming deadline. And that's what my 4th hack is. Isn't it amazing how productive we get when the night before a deadline, right? Suddenly the person who had 3 weeks to finish their assignment and go to the Google Doc and hasn't touched it becomes a typing machine at 2 a.m. in the night, fueled by maybe panic and a little caffeine. Believe me, like when I was trying to write the speech, I had 4 weeks. And the speech really worked out during the 20-hour flight that I was flying in. That's the power of deadline. So deadlines turn procrastinators into producers. It turns panic into progress. So a few years ago, I asked myself a question that changed everything. What if I gave my life a deadline? if I just had 5 years to live, what would I regret not doing? I know we are thinking, what's a 5 year, pretending 5 years to live in your 20s, your 30s? What a depressing question to be asking. But then I realized it's the best productivity hack ever. Because a deadline turns a dream into a plan and a plan into action, and suddenly all the unimportant stuff in life vanishes. The comfortable, monotonous routines, they just go away. What happened next in my life was just astounding. Those imaginary 5 years, it tripled my life experiences, not because I was rushing, but because I was finally awake. And awake to the world's invitations, and awake to the idea that the best lives are not just a straight line. So I went, pet a koala in Australia, done. Finally see that AC/DC concert, done. Surprise parents to a hot air balloon festival, done. Climb a 15-story tall tree, done. Donate blood 25 times, done. Become a published author, done. Build an autonomous racing car and land on a podium, done. Speak at United Nations, done. Trained 5 years to give Mount Everest everything I had, done. That last one actually was a 2-for-1 deal because I had to get airlifted up to the mountain, which unexpectedly unlocked my next goal: ride a helicopter, done. So the irony is pretending. So the irony is pretending my life was short didn't make it feel any smaller. In fact, it made it infinitely bigger, and it made it 10 times more interesting. And that's when I realized this fundamental truth: the illusion of infinite time kills more dreams than failure ever did. Waiting for that someday is the slowest, most deceptive way to waste a life. The reality is most of us overestimate what we'll do in 30 years and underestimate what we'll do in the next 5. 5 years is long enough to accomplish something epic and short enough to make those excuses look silly. So my parting advice today to you all is don't just build a bucket list, but when you read something inspiring, when an idea sparks a fire in you, write it down, add it to your list, but then, and this is the most important part, add an expiration date to that idea. Because when you think you have 50 years, you gently scroll. But when you think you have 5, you sprint. So, live your next 5 years with such richness, such adventure, that when people look back at the story of your life, they don't say, "What a long life." They actually say, "What a lucky one." Congratulations, class of 2025.